AI this, automation that. Everyone's talking about how it's going to replace jobs, kill industries, blah, blah, blah. But the real cheat code, combine AI with info operating, and you've just built a fucking money printer. No copy paste, school community, 50% bullshit, not spamming cold DMs of half of someone's offer or business. I'm talking real back-end systems, revenue shares, upfront fees, automations, VSLs, sales teams, the full complete stack. And the best part is 99% of creators, coaches, consultants have no idea, one, how to build this, plus they don't even have the time, which is exactly why you're going to print. And even if they could do it, they probably don't even want to. Now, first off, let me explain what this is, because if you don't yet understand what info operating is or what it means, here's a very, very quick breakdown. We pretty much partner with coaches, creators, consultants, fitness, trading, biz op, consultant, could be anything. They sell the front end, we run the back end. Instead of teaching theory like gurus, we build their funnels, onboarding, sales engines, and automations. Then we take a percentage of everything that comes in. They keep making content, we turn it into predictable revenue every single month. If you are just getting into this, you haven't landed a client yet, don't worry. You sat there panicking, thinking, fuck, I don't even have a client, how am I going to do this? Just chill out. That is not always a bad thing, believe it or not. A lot of the guys with clients right now are just fucked anyway. Wrong deals, no systems, and no leverage. They have absolutely zero authority. I'm sure you've seen this, depending on when you're watching this video, some big stuff going on right now with Sam Millsap. But if you don't vet the client properly, you don't get paid properly. Jace, for example, who's working with Sam and kind of got scammed, he's fine because he's got other clients, he's doing pretty well. But there's tons of other people who aren't in that situation. They've only got one client, two clients, and they just get bent over in the exact same way. So if you're fresh, take it as an advantage. You can lean on everything I'm going to be showing you today. All the systems and automations, just like all the ones I'm going to be showing you, the onboarding flows, call analyzers, done for you snapshots, everything and so much more can all be used, one, when you're pitching clients, and two, obviously, when you're actually working with them as well. So instead of saying, I'll figure it out, you can say, I build offers with proper onboarding, delivery, and automation, the same kind of infrastructure that real killers use to scale. You can then show them examples, give them proof, whatever you need to do. You can actually show them the systems live because we're going to be showing you exactly how to do everything and set it up today. And that's leverage most beginners do not have because they're just pushing sales with nothing behind them, begging someone falls for their trick and works with them. And this is where we're different. Most operators are just sales teams. They push marketing and acquisition and that's it. They don't handle anything to do with delivery or product, but we do it A to Z, front to back, funnels, onboarding, sales, automations, fulfillment, everything. It's like a tongue twister. Why would anyone sign with some sort of scammy sales team when they could work with a complete done for you, plus some done with you parts, set up that's automated, tested, and actually delivers, again, with proof? Just like Tomek did, he launched a trading client when he was just 17, still in Poland, in school, and he did 138k in 22 days. Plus the launch before that, his first ever launch, he managed to generate $40,000 in the first 3 days. Not because he spammed sales and just copied off what everyone else was doing. He plugged into an actual system, an automated setup that works, and then he just let it run and moved with it. So if you're brand new, don't stress. You're not behind. You're walking in with an advantage if you use all of this properly and start signing clients with real leverage and real systems to scale. So now, moving on, I want to assume that you do have a client, obviously once you've got past that part, and if you don't, and that part resonated with you, you can just pretend you've got one. For the sake of the fat-ass value we're going to be showing you today, I want you to just go into this pretending you've got a client, think of it in your head, imagine you've got one, stop worrying about sending a Loom video and all this bullshit, right? For 1 minute, just take on board some real value, understand the business, and that's going to help you benefit with, one, getting the client and doing your outreach and finding the niche, but also, of course, actually delivering a good product once you do land a client. So, anyway, if you do have a client, you're not in the DM trenches anymore like a worker in a sweatshop, but instead of escaping the grind, you've recycled it into delivery. You're still working super, super hard, and you really shouldn't be. You've gone from chasing clients to chasing tasks. Congratulations. You've just built yourself another job. Everyone's making these TikToks, Instagram Reels, talking about freedom and driving fancy cars. But what they don't say is they're literally working 10 hours a day still because they haven't figured out how to automate and systemize. They're just slaving away for multiple people instead of one. So, there's a lot of manual bottlenecks that come into this. Every new client you get more admin, more delivery, more hours. Don't get me wrong, more clients equals more money. That's fucking obvious. But what you don't realize, or maybe you're just in denial, that isn't scalable. You need to be more systemized because systems equals scaling, and that's kind of what we're going to be going over today. That's kind of my thing in general, I guess. So I do want to have a quick disclaimer here, a little bitch warning. Setting up systems and automations and everything like that is not easy. It's not as simple as, do you have one-to-one mentorship that everyone seems to be messaging everyone these days? It's not as easy as that. However, this version actually gets results and they can help you scale and actually know what you're doing instead of just copying off people and trying your luck. And that's the difference between these two launches. And I know what you're thinking. Hang on, it's the exact same numbers. And obviously, it was for the sake of the video. Both launches made the same amount of money. Stop wasting my time. I get it. And again, this was a bit of a far-fetched example. But the main difference between these two launches is this. One launch was with 12 hours a day, geeking on nicotine, caffeine, whatever, sat working, sometimes at home, sometimes at coffee shops. The other launch, 3 hours a day. I can sit on my laptop 3 hours a day on a beach, have some of my AI systems, create some emails, send them out, push the launch, do a sequence, whatever it might be, which I'm going to be showing you very, very soon, and we still push the exact same amount of revenue. Now, if I'm going to be honest, we actually do more. This was just for the example of the video. We do way more revenue now. Now we have systems in place. But even if you weren't doing more revenue, is it not worth just the time investment? 12 hours to 3 hours. 9 hours less to make the same amount. However, again, you would be making more. So what needs to change? I have tons of examples, but just to name a few. Firstly, onboarding new clients. Automate it. Client fills in a form. Within 24 hours, the full back end is cloned and running. Sales systems, again, automate it. Analyzes calls minutes after they've finished, and stop wasting time with manual DM letters and the whole shebang. Try to hire different people left, right, and center. The list goes on. I'm sure you get the point, and we're going to be going into it very shortly. Everything, front to back, needs to be systemized. You should be running all of these offers like the military. Let's bold that, right, for effect. ChatGPT and Zap, right? Because everyone thinks, once you look at this, you're like, oh, he's another guy telling me to use some zaps and blah, 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 blah. Let me jump on. No. Your favorite guru promised you if you started using ChatGPT, Zapier for you Americans, whatever it might be, maybe some Claude if you're extra special. You could be some sort of AI operating automation expert. You're going to be a millionaire. Every part of my agency is automated. We're not talking about some bullshit apps. Not talking about chucking a half-baked prompt into ChatGPT to spit out some crusty email copy or some sort of shitty 8-minute VSL script. That's surface level, and you're competing with everyone. Everyone's doing the same shit. We have wired AI into every single layer of our business, our agency, when it comes to sales, delivery, onboarding, content, actual ops, operations, everything. If there's any sort of repeatable task, it's automated. If there's data to track, it's in a dashboard. My team and AI together, with all the pods we have, completely handle the back end, which means I'm not stuck in Slack or Discord or an email, chasing clients, trying to get things done 4 weeks out, I'm actually working on the business instead of slaving within it, like most of you lot are. And that's the difference. Most people play with AI. We've leveraged it to remove myself and the rest of the guys as well from the grind and just completely scale. So, now, finally, let's get into it. I'm going to be breaking down some of the pillars we've built inside the agency, just to give you some examples of what you can do and how you can kind of do it. And so you can figure everything out and hopefully get yourself scaling. If you've got a client, you can absolutely kill it with them without putting more and more hours. If anything, having less hours, but making more rev. And if you don't have a client, I'm going to be showing you the systems that you can move forward with when you do get a client, and also how you can leverage them to present to clients and have them work with you instead of all these other scammers, honestly, for the most of them. But if not, just the guys who are going to do half a job. And by the way, if you think this is going to be too much work and you want to work with me one-to-one or work with our team or our agency to install all this shit, systemize and scale your info biz, the links are below. Depending on kind of what situation you're in, there's a few different links, but yeah, you can have a look. But anyways, let's get into it. And as you can see, little color-coded things so I can remember which order to do these in, because I am not one for this organization shit. But let's fucking go, right? Okay. Firstly, we'll start off with client onboarding. Most agencies, most operators waste 2 to 3 weeks just getting a client live, just getting them added to the Discord or the Slack. Back and forth emails for logins, contracts lost in inboxes, Stripe links sent 3 times. By the time the client's onboarded, they're already doubting you, they're already finding other people, they've probably been on a call with us, if I'm going to be honest. Real operators, real agencies, I guess, don't play that game. We automate onboarding so a client's live and ready inside 48 hours, and this is at like the very, very high end, honestly. Now, there's different parts of this, and obviously I'm not going to go super in depth, but firstly, automated collection, because the first choke point where most agencies lose the momentum is actually collecting the assets. Because the client says yes, you kind of make the deal, then you spend the next 7, 10, 14 days chasing payments, chasing contracts, half-complete forms, forgotten logins, whatever. It kills energy, instantly makes you look like a little bitch, even like to the point of like, you'll go to log in the Instagram, then they'll have 2 FA set up and you've got to then chase them up and you're in different time zones. Like there's so many examples of this. I get people complaining to me left, right and center. like thinking, oh, this seems so easy, it's so simple, everyone makes it out to be so simple. There's so many little tedious tasks that get annoying. We just delete all of that. We want to get rid of it. And that's why we systemize everything from day one. And here's just like one example of something you can set up, the most basic version, right? Automated forms, checklists, actually having the payment set up. So as soon as they fill in the form, they get sent the payment link, or as soon as they fill in the contract, payment link, checks everything over, installs, creates all the pages in Notion, sets up the SOPs, you're good to go. On a super basic level, of course. Now, CRM and automation setup, because this is where most agencies show their amateur side. They onboard the client, hi, welcome, put them in a WhatsApp group or something and say, hey, we're going to scale your product, da-da-da-da-da. But they've got no infrastructure, they've got no system, they've got nothing. Every lead is a mystery, every follow-up is manual, every task is just some bullshit scribbled in Notion or stored in a database. Here's the process of what you should be doing without overcomplicating it too much. As soon as the onboarding form or whatever onboarding systems you have are submitted, AI is going to tag the client in the CRM with the niche, the offer type, ICP profile. You can go more in depth and do more, but again, on the most basic level, this is all you need. Pipelines are then set up and cloned from snapshots. You've got discovery, booked call, closed, onboarding, delivery, everything like that. All the stages are pre-built. Then all the automated reminders set up, every sort of nurture sequence, email automations are all done. SMS, email before calls, nurture flows if they ghost, upsell sequences after delivery, everything is installed. Then obviously we have internal automations firing too. It's all good, everything being created, but we need to know about it. So we have to have all the tasks assigned as well to the setters, the closers, and the VAs and anyone else we have on board too. Notion notifications for new clients, as well as obviously automating our notifications into our Discord and our Slack so we can track everything. And then we also have all the automated commission tracking set up, all the Airtable systems, or with a few clients we've been trying out our new custom infrastructures. But again, I'm not going to get into that. We have all the sales dashboards, systems, commissions tracking set up as well, pretty much instantly. Within 48 hours, the CRM isn't empty. It's a fully operational control tower. Every lead is tagged, every call scheduled, every touch point is tracked. Plus, we install any previous leads they've got from anywhere else and have it all in kind of one operating system so we can take control and really scale. All you need to do is build one onboarding flow that triggers the client signs, contract to a straight payment, onboarding form and Notion, exactly what I was showing you kind of thing up here. From there, the data auto syncs into your CRM, client tagged, pipeline stage set, reminders scheduled, and nurture flows are active. And even if you stop there, without going any further, you're already cutting onboarding time from weeks to under 48 hours and instantly look like a proper operator, not some BS freelancer from Fiverr. Okay, now let's go all the way to the top because like I said, this isn't very organized. And let's go to the next stage. Because next we have offer research, market research, whatever. Because I want you to be honest. How many of you watching this right now actually know about the space, the niche that your offer is in? Because you end up guessing what the market wants, price it randomly, just copying other people, and then wonder why nobody buys. Because let me guess, right? If you're working with a trader, have you ever been a profitable trader? Have you ever even done Forex? Have you invested in crypto? Probably not. If you work with an e-com guy, have you ever scaled a Shopify store to even 10K a month? And if you did, was that revenue? Was it profit? What were your margins? Chances are you didn't, right? Maybe you work with a mindset coach. Your mindset's probably fucked. You've got no idea. So you cannot just go in and just guess. Operators don't guess. We let AI rip through the data and hand us insights before we build a single funnel. And obviously on top of that, we do our own research too. We have our actual research pod within our team. We go out, we do all the research, we completely stack everything. We go on calls with people, we put out forms, and then we analyze it personally for a manual touch, plus have AI scour through everything to sort of build that final drive of every piece of market research super in depth moving forward. And some extra points as well. We'll go in, we'll do a content analysis because we use AI to scrape and analyze all content across all platforms. Posts, shorts, long form, that even goes like your written stuff like threads and X, to their emails, to everything. It shows what hooks land, what angles flop, and which topics drive engagement that actually converts. And instead of post and pray, we double down on what the market already proves it wants. And when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about the actual person we're working with, their content at this point, right? Because then separately, we also do a market analysis. So we also want it to rip through the competitors' funnels, ads, and content. So it's doing the exact same thing as it did for their content, but also for the competition. But then we also have it track the competition's funnels, the competition's ads, everything. And AI is doing all of this from day one and running 24/7 with no breaks, no complaints. We see what guarantees they're making, what pricing models they're running, where the gaps are, what content's performing well, And that means we don't copy them, of course, but we know what they're doing, so we can outposition them. And if they're offering, 12-week coaching, we frame 90-day operating system install or whatever, and immediately look sharper. We've essentially hacked funnel hacking, if you want to call it that. And again, it all leads to this part we'll get into in a moment. Now, next we have, I believe, sales systems. Because a big one we've plugged in recently, which saves me hours and saves the sales manager even more, not just tightening the sales process, but actually showing us way more about the ICP behind an offer, it's the sales call analyzer. And that's not just for sales calls, although it seems like it. We use this in a very, very similar setup for the closing calls and the setting calls as well. And we also have a separate thing that reviews like the chats through like text message setting, Instagram, WhatsApp, whatever it might be. So here's an example for the actual sales calls. But we have it also sent in a Discord now. It gives us like a full analysis and scores out of 10 for each kind of point we have. Similar to pretty much all these kind of AI analyzer tools you're seeing online right now. It's just that we wanted to plug it into our own system so we could have the reviews come into the Discord, have the sales manager track them live without having to be logged into multiple things. So me and the team built this automation and a few others that I mentioned in NA10. As soon as the sales call ends, it fires a full breakdown to me and the sales manager. We're looking at objections, pain points, insights, CTAs. It scores a call out of 10 and scores each of these points out of 10 as well. And gives a probability rating on whether they'll buy if they didn't close on the spot. Gives us the next steps and things like that. And it helps us get, show up rates like this as well. Closing rates like this. And obviously super low no-show rates. Because not only are we using this to increase the closing rates and track everything and improve all the time, we also have systems to track the show up, the no-show, and make that way better. So we use this to train the sales team, push up close rates, track everything, just basically optimize and improve data across the board. However, we've got a similar setup for the setters. Like I said, it's bump show up rates and clean the whole pre-call process, and it even saves setters time by sending instant call notes to closers, so there's no exactly back and forth needed. Again, we do have manual touch, don't get me wrong, but we automate and systemize whatever we can. Most agencies live and die by who DM me back today, right? Chasing their team, sat in the CRM, sat in Slack, whatever. We've got AI SDRs, AI appointment setters, AI dialers, whatever you want to call it. We don't really use the dialing side of it much at the moment. We're doing manual with that, but we do have the setters, which literally outperform pretty much every setter we've had on board. The AI SDRs run 24/7 across, at the moment, Instagram and WhatsApp. They never sleep. They don't ask for commission. They don't burn out. They're programmed with our scripts, frameworks, objections, nurture flows, everything. That means they can qualify, follow up, and push to book, all while the setters and closers only focus on high quality calls. Plus, with this, it also has short-term memory, and we have it connect with our databases, so it knows every single thing about a prospect, where they've been previously. Maybe they opted into a funnel 2 months ago. Maybe they watched this YouTube video and then clicked on a link, and then we tracked it with a UTM or a trigger link or whatever it might be. We know everything about every single prospect, and that means that our AI appointment setters know it all too. And how many manual setters do you know, right, that are going to go through and find every single touch point someone's made? For sure, they can go check on Google tags and see that maybe they opted into a free training at some point. But I'm talking everything. You don't need to do that with AI. It already knows it because we plug it all in through the databases. It knows everything. It speaks the same way the client does. And yeah, it just gives incredible value and manages to subtly push them without being too salesy. And that's how we get really good show up rates. Obviously, this went down eventually, but at the start of launches, 100%. We then get a little bit further on, 91%. We stay super high. Obviously, this is like top notch. I'm not going to lie and say we have every offer we do is 100%. But even if it's at 80%, 85%, 90%, whatever it is, we're looking to get high show up rates compared to everybody else. Because one, we have systems, but also we deeply qualify. And if people aren't super committed, we don't take the calls because we don't need to. But yeah. This allows us to get all these closes and do pretty well without wasting time. Then there's inbound. Most creators and coaches leak 80% of their leads because they've got no capture system, no lead system. Again, we've automated everything. Story replies trigger the AI setter, instant DM conversation, free training opt-ins, puts them into an instant nurture sequence across email and WhatsApp or SMS depending, plus a booking page. Lead magnets with email sequences keep cold leads warm until they're ready to go. And this all together, plus way more, means that 0 leads slip through the cracks, literally. Because if someone sniffs around our content, they're in our funnel, we've got them. With all our AI systems, plus our retargeting and our ads, we're keeping them in, right, until they buy. Now, last but not least is ops, it's operations. Because this is where most freelancers just completely implode. They either spend weeks writing copy that still flops, or they take months to perfect an offer that never even gets validated. Real operators skip the guesswork. We automate the grunt work, sharpen the edges fast, and just basically just move. That's the biggest thing for most of you lot, just fucking move, you get what I'm saying? So yeah, copy and funnel assets. Most creators, coaches, consultants freeze at copywriting. Most operators do as well, so I'm not going to lie. Blank document, they're on Google Docs, the cursor's blinking, and suddenly 3 weeks have gone by with no funnel live. You should never start from scratch. It's just stupid at this point. Like, everyone's complaining about AI taking their job. Just utilize it, leverage it. We plug AI into our ICP and offer profiles, and it instantly spins out VSL scripts structured to sell, not just telling a story. Email sequences for nurture, post-booking, and ascension. Funnel copy for opt-ins, sales pages, and upsells. Plus story sequences to warm the audience before a push. And when I say we plug AI into it, by the way, I'm not talking about copy and paste and stuff and putting a good prompt into GPT, Claude, or even Poppy at this point. We have this whole system set up so as soon as the market research gets added to our folder, it triggers whole system that generates every single thing we need for that funnel and for that offer without any manual input. And then it does the first draft. We can then utilize it, optimize it through, again, AI, and then we do the final manual touches to get that kind of elite copy, if you like, at the end. We are setting up other things now as well, not to waste time and yap on here, but we are setting up other things to actually go out and create the landing pages and stuff, but I don't want to talk about it too much because we're not perfected that, and there's still a lot of manual input and setting things up, but it is pretty interesting and it makes some pretty cool stuff. Here's the thing, like I said, it doesn't stop at first drafts. Every piece is completely data trained, and every time we do something new, by the way, it trains it even more. I'm not talking about data trained as in like I've set up a custom GPT. I'm talking about every single thing we do then also gets added to a memory database to understand what we like and what we don't like. Because when we iterate it and change things, optimize it, the AI learns from that. Okay, they like it this way, they like it that way. And it does the training based on each client, and then it also has overall training where it kind of understands how the best stuff is, I guess, overall. If the click-through rate or conversion is low, AI rewrites until the numbers just hit and go crazy. It's copywriting that improves itself every week. Instead of rotting in Google Docs, saved it in your Drive folder, pasted a few things in Notion. You don't need to do it anymore. And then obviously for the ops as well, we've got the offer curation. Because you finish your market research now, you've got the client on board, you need to create the offer. Because if your offer sucks, no funnel's going to save you, no systems are going to save you, or anything like that. You need to build offers systematically. Not vibes, not guesses, not watching a couple of reels and YouTube videos and thinking you're insane. Maybe you've read $100 million offers. Whoa, yippee. We start with raw data. No safety. Raw. Competitor analysis, onboarding forms, voice memos, everything. We get everything we need from the client before we even make a move. And as soon as you get that, there's no delay. Instantly, as soon as everything's uploaded, AI processes it, gets all the data, turns it into an MVP offer draft. Price ladders, delivery modules, guarantees, even unique mechanism angles, USPs, everything. And then obviously we step in. We tighten the delivery, refine the positioning, and stress test. Within 3 to 4 weeks, which even that's a stretch, honestly, we could probably do it in less time than that, the offer is no longer theory. It's validated with cash and case studies. And obviously you're not going to get a crazy case study in 4 weeks, of course, but we like to have quick wins in every offer we have. So even if it's little wins, we're still getting some sort of win or testimonial pretty quick, ready to move on. We get them to record a voice memo. This is for our clients, by the way. We get them to record a voice memo explaining the offer transformation. And I think quite a few people are doing this now. But we then have another voice memo completely explaining the client's background story. I have done something interesting with this as well recently. I'm going to get into it in a moment. And we'll, if you want to give me feedback on this and let me know in the comments, because this is like me just freestyling. I did it with one client and it worked. So I'm looking to do it more. But you'll see why. We take all this stuff, we feed it into an AI offer builder, which again, we don't really do because it's all automated. But for yourself, you can still do this pretty manually. You can take the voice memos and all that stuff. You can also take like a document of market research that you've gathered from forms and calls, again, if you want to do it manually. And then you can kind of manually upload that into AI, whether it's Claude, whether it's Poppy, whatever. And it'll still kind of do the same thing, just with a bit more delay, but again, who cares? Within a day, you'll have modules, price points, and guarantees to test ready to go. Don't sit in Notion for 3 months, validate fast, fucking move and make some bread. I promise I won't forget about what I was saying here. I'll go into that in a moment. End of the road. Next part. because I know it gets a bit confusing, and I haven't even went super in depth in this video because I have like tons of things planned and tons of ideas of like content stuff I want to go through, but I really don't want to start off with like super crazy videos. So I kind of want to see the feedback on this and what you lot want to see next. But yeah, I'm not saying here you need to disappear for 6 months and build some wild end-to-end contraption that's going to put us all on the moon. It's a waste of time. But here's what you can actually do right now. Obviously, you can start with free AI, ChatGPT and Claude. As long as please stop firing some fucking shitty pussy prompts like write me an email, because that is why your outputs look like every other guru's funnel spam. And actually, I can give you a live example here because I actually fucked up. Because my content guy left in M dashes here, and I noticed it whilst I was reading it. I was like, for fuck's sake, I wasn't going to mention it, but now we're here, I should. And all your copy and all your emails probably includes them, and you probably don't even realize. And that's just one. That's a really obvious example, but AI is crazy. Like, you can just tell. If you can tell, you can tell. And I'm guessing all your copy looks like that. Instead, you need to tell it what part of the business you need assets for, outreach, onboarding, nurture, delivery, whatever it is, and have it build the pieces with incredible prompt engineering and incredible context. You'll get call scripts, email sequences, onboarding flows, even funnel copy. You can literally just drop and place into your process, not generic text. Because you see, this is the sort of level your prompt should be at, this length. And even that isn't perfect because they should be way more above this, just teaching it and letting it learn everything. And then you can take things like this, pre-made prompts. These are just random examples I have saved in Notion. These aren't things I really use, to be honest with you. We have custom stuff, but it's a good example though, and it'll help you get started. But yeah, give it incredible context on what it's creating and do crazy prompts like that. But even then, if I'm going to be honest, when I used to get lazy, I wouldn't even do incredible prompts. I would literally go on like GPT or Claude or whatever on my phone. I would pull up like the client folder. We have like a custom project folder for every client, and I would voice note it. Because I'm like, right, okay, I'm probably not going to sit here and create a crazy prompt. Let me just be realistic, even though it's probably better. So I'm just going to literally yap and talk about everything I know about the client and what I want it to make and how I want it to make it and everything like that. I'll sit there and talk for so long. I'll get the first output, and now it's got incredible context, but obviously the prompt wasn't great, as in like we haven't told it what to do really specifically. I'll just say like we're looking to make X, Y, and Z email sequence. We want it to do X, Y, and Z thing. Here's the goal of it. Here's the context of what I want to talk about and what we're actually aiming to do. And I'll talk about it. We'll get the first output, and then I'll start prompting properly and giving it instructions and making it perfect. Because now it's got context and real instructions to make killer emails. So you don't even have to go too crazy with it. Like I say, I could be laid in bed on a night just talking, yapping away to AI. But yeah, I mean, some of you that have friends, I guess, you don't need to do that, but you know it is. No, I'm fucking around. But I guess if you want to talk about it in levels, let's go level 2. You can leverage things like Poppy AI. I don't want to fucking promote these guys too much, but it's a pretty sick platform, so fair play to them. I know it's pretty expensive for you guys starting out because they're gonna have like a yearly plan and shit, but you don't have to use Poppy. It's pretty much just the same thing as your ChatGPT, your Claude. It's just easier to use visually because you can drag in different context. In fact, the easiest way to show you is here. The chatbot. And then you have like groups, so you can upload things like YouTube videos and files and things, and then you just drag the group to the chat, and then it has all that context. Basically, it's as if you typed it all out into Claude, but instead you're just dragging a line, right? So if you want to do it in Claude, it's going to take a little bit longer, but again, I get it. If you're just starting out, maybe you can just do it in Claude. Don't panic and think, I don't have Poppy. You can still leverage most of this stuff. So this is where it gets a little bit more serious. Poppy is the framework that we use, or used a lot more previously, but we still use it. To give AI memory and context. You feed it JSON profiles on your ICP, offers, sales scripts, and even past client objections. Now, instead of AI just winging it and doing what it does for everybody else, you've got a system that responds in the exact voice, context, and logic of your business with also a deep understanding on whatever you're trying to do. That means that AI isn't just spitting some random copy or data. It's analyzing everything, building outreach flows, optimizing messaging, whatever else you need every single day, every single week, every single month. It's like strapping an absolute killer brain into your automations. And like a board looks like this. You can see I've even created context profiles on my content. Like when I want to do different styles of short form, I have context profiles completely explaining what that style of content is. So like when you'll see me do like a split screen video on Instagram Reels that I'm going to be doing a lot more of, hold me accountable, I'll just plug this into Poppy. Everyone else is doing super raw and creative. That's not me. I'm a systems guy. I'm too busy working. I'm trying to, scale clients' offers at the end of the day. So I'm trying to systemize and speed up the content systems as much as I possibly can. So I hate to say it, but yeah, I try and systemize and organize my content with things like this. We have context profiles on my agency explaining everything we do, how we do it, everything. offer creation, context profiles as well, how to create killer offers. And then we have context on me and my life, because I didn't want to use any clients examples. And another section as well that explains the full context on my business. And again, you can see voice notes here, because that's what I do. I yap on. So the easiest way for me to do it is just drop a voice note in. Again, if you're using Claude, just transcript the voice note and copy it in and paste it. But same shit, and everything like that. Now, here's what I was missing up here that I was going to mention, right? When I said we record voice memos and everything, as you can see here, here's the voice memos I was talking about. So we'll do them for like our full life story, origin story. We'll also do it for the full business and everything. And we get all of our clients to do the exact same thing. One thing I've done recently, I don't know how well this would work, and obviously not every client can do this, of course, but we had them do it all the same stuff, did voice notes, actually multiple they did, so fair play to them. Explaining the full business, how to go from A to Z with the business. They also sent more voice notes going over their full kind of origin story in the more recent years, transitioning from what business they used to do. I'm not going to get into that, into what they do now. The full story, how they got into it, how they got successful, all that same shit. What we did extra, which was kind of like their idea in a way, we had them have a family member, it was actually their parents, do like a separate voice note, a super long one, kind of like their full life story, if that makes sense. Because obviously they can do a life story, don't get me wrong. But like the parents can do it in a different way, like a more of an emotional way, I guess, like talking about how they brought them up and where they lived and all this shit. And it works sick, I'm not going to lie. Because when we, used all that and leveraged it for things like VSLs and offers, it was no longer just like a very simple, like, I went from doing this to this. And you'll probably understand what I mean here, because if I ask you your origin story, you'll think of certain things. Whereas if you talk more in depth with like your parents or someone in your family, they'll have little pointers about your life that you'll think, oh yeah, I didn't think about that. And because it's your life, you'll think it's normal. Everybody's like that. Where it's not. It's unique little quirks that just you've got, but you won't notice it. So if you go out and ask your friends, family, whatever, to tell you from their perspective, it doesn't have to be your full life story, but it could be like certain events or anything. Or just ask them to tell you anything, like any little quirks about you, whatever. And you can just, when they're talking to you, record it. Or have them voice note it to you, whatever it might be, record a call. I swear to God, things like that are going to help you way more than you'd think. And even I was surprised. So yeah, I just wanted to just drop that a little bit extra in. I didn't plan to say that, but it's an interesting one. And then a few extra things I've dragged in here is books. You can take a look at all these books. These are just killer copywriting books, because things like Poppy can take on board context. You can download all these books as PDFs. I wouldn't recommend downloading all of them at once, of course. But like, say, for example, you do an offer. You could take your $100 million offers as a PDF, drop it in Poppy, have Poppy completely have the context, understanding and everything of $100 million offers, plus all the context, understanding of your client, the business, the offer, everything. And what's it going to do? It's going to help you improve it based on Alex's frameworks and everything, without you having to go through and study and manually do it. So yeah, I don't want to talk about this for too long, but hopefully that makes sense. Some of this stuff is more basic, some is more advanced, of course. Step 3, I promise you, although this is kind of a CTA, I'm really not, it's not really about that. There is value here. Step 3, level 3, is work with us and get access to the heavy hitters, or you can just kind of recreate this shit on your own, if you can manage that. So one example is we've built tools that you're obviously not going to find on YouTube. We actually don't even sell them, which is a weird thing, I know, because most people make this shit and fucking provide it to people and have some sort of monthly subscription. But yeah, Offer Pilot is this application right here, the first one we built. And it basically just builds entire offers in minutes, if not seconds. Positioning, guarantees, pricing structures. It also ideates kind of the ideas behind emails. So it won't write the emails for you, but it'll give you kind of the concept, the context for each email and the sequence and everything like that. The same with all your nurture flows and everything like that. The reason it doesn't script them is because we have a separate app for that, because it's just trained in a whole different way. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, it does all of that in minutes, if not seconds. Copy Ghost is the other app I made. This one we're kind of still working on recently to improve it. But basically it just spits high converting funnel copy, VSLs, emails, story sequences, everything, even content that's battle tested, trained on all of our data and ready to move in your process. And that's why we don't have Offer Pilot actually spit out copy for emails. We'll just have it ideate the context, because it understands way more and has more data on the client and their life and all this context. For example, the same stuff you'll see in Poppy, but inside our own app instead. So it'll give us really good concepts. It's just not as good as Copy Ghost, because we use Claude on the back end for this one, and it's just killer. So we can take the ideas for these emails from here, from Offer Pilot, and put it into Copy Ghost to get the most insane results. Let's see if I can make this a bit bigger to give you some examples. But like I said, this isn't finished yet. As you can see, story sequences, paid ads, newsletters, emails, cold email for outreach, cold email reviews if you're doing it manually, funnel copy, VSL script creation, VSL script review. There's so much stuff. I'm not going to go through all of it, but we can also use it to create JSON context profiles. So it's a pretty cool platform, but we're still improving. We're still working on that one, but it's pretty sick. And again, you don't have to get the platform. I'm not even saying that, but pause the video right there and take a look at some of the AI stuff you can do. Look what the app allows you to do with AI. You don't have to use the app, but find other ways to do it, right? Train your Claude to, for example, review VSL scripts, because then you can use AI to create VSL scripts, don't get me wrong, but then you don't just rely on it, and if you're not an absolute killer copywriter, you need to review them. So yes, manually review it. You need to be a good copywriter, don't get me wrong, but I just know for a fact some of you aren't. So if that's the case, have AI help you with reviewing it as well. Okay. But the funny thing is, I created these are working really, really well. But the most advanced stuff we use, because we don't even use this day to day with clients because we don't need to. And again, there's still manual work, which I know sounds stupid. It's 30 seconds. How lazy am I being? But why would we use that when instead we've also crafted advanced end-to-end workflows, custom AI infrastructures, and everything like that we use inside our agency and with our one-on-one licensing clients that, you can look at if you want to. These aren't little zaps or whatever you might call it. They're full stack systems that run acquisition, onboarding, market research, ops, sales, fulfillment, everything. I'm not going to, get out of breath here. But they easily replace 10 plus hires, probably every single week, honestly, at this point, without the HR headaches. They dial in every process. They work 24/7. But I guess the thing is, you do not need that level. So I'm not trying to sell you on it. Don't worry. If you're just coming to watch this video, try to learn a little bit more. Don't worry about that. This kind of only makes sense when your bottlenecks are no longer leads, right? Your bottlenecks are systems. You're putting too much time into it, but you're still making good bread. If you're still fighting for your first couple of clients or piecing together your first ever, 10K, 20K month, stick with all the fundamentals we've walked through, your Poppy, your JSON, your Claude GPT, everything we spoke about above all these different systems. You just keep with that, right? All I want you to do is just get proof, stay lean, keep it simple. The advanced stack that I'm talking about here is more kind of the people already breaking into that next tier. The Tamek, 138K in 22 days. Manish, 300K a month, who's obviously working with us as well. All that stuff. The 300K a month type shit, right? That's when we plug it in. And even more examples here. We give you copy-paste Poppy boards for tons of stuff. These are only a few examples. And it literally shows you step-by-step what to do. This is the most simple one without value in it because I don't want to bait anything out. So I just screenshotted this kind of section of the board that's all empty. You get all of our end-to-end infrastructures and systems and everything like that. So there's just so much stuff. And you can go ahead and build some of this on your own. You can, get it from us if you want to. If you are a creator, coach, consultant, obviously we can work with you and install it for you, either way. But yeah, these same systems, obviously again, took Mac from DM grind to building one backend, hitting 40K in his first 3 days. Then the next launch doing over 138K in 22 days. Luca was stuck at $300 per month and literally scaled to $31,618 in just 16 days. Zawa signed 2 clients in 6 days, that were systems. He's actually signed way more. He's a killer at acquisition, I'm not going to lie. He's helped one client generate 92K revenue or something like that. You can check that out. Plus, he's recently took another client from 0 to 12K in just 10 days, as you can see here. We did a video about that. And then Manish went from 0 to $27,811 per month in 3 months with his own info agency, as you can see here. And that's obviously his profit. So revenue-wise, they're doing so much higher. Kill your false beliefs. This is kind of the end of this video, but I think it's just so important. More effort does not equal more money. Cold DMs do not equal scalable growth, and broke clients are not a stepping stone. They're dead weight. Just get rid of them. Stop bullshitting, being desperate. Please, right? Just put real effort in, get real leverage, have real authority, get killer clients. Just go without if you can, right? Make 0 for a little bit longer, and then month 1, when you land a client, make big money. Instead of making a little bit here and a little bit there for so long, you're never going to land big clients because you're too busy with the other guys. You don't have time to do outreach. You don't have time to learn and systemize. You're just kind of in this little hamster wheel of doing the same shit for less money, in fact, probably, than a job. Service providers make money when they work. Systemizers make money when the system works. And that's the whole point, right? Build the system that works. And in 2026 that we're going into, AI is just free leverage. It automates the grind so you can scale the back end, and that's how we win. So he's the CTAs, let me be honest. Because I think the thing is for me now, I don't even need to care about CTAs. It's like, you see the value, you can check it out if you want. If not, don't. Because if you're serious about scaling to that sort of 20K, 50 a month, if not more, whether that's, for yourself or for your client, whatever, I work directly one-on-one with a handful of people. We build the back end, the systems, and we scale it together. The link's below for that. And that is more for your operators and your agencies. And we want you to be bringing in that sort of level of profit, not revenue for your client. That is personal profit. The client, obviously, we want to be doing way more. If you aren't there yet, you're more of a beginner, or you're just stuck at lower months, you haven't got a client, whatever it might be, you can start even with the free training, the free group. And I promise you it's not some basic bullshit. Go check it out below. That's the entry point. You'll get all the basics, you'll start moving, but there is way more bonuses and extra things in that. If you are a creator, coach, or consultant, and you just want to focus on making content, helping students, jumping on a few calls, we will run the entire back end for you. Not just me, my complete team. We are killers, I'm not gonna lie. Like, not just me alone, I'm not taking credit, but I have people on my team that will just kill for you. And I'm gonna be, speaking to you one-on-one. So you can literally just book a call with me personally. Funnels, automations, delivery, client success, all handled. You do the front end, we do the rest. You'll kill it. You'll make a lot of money. But yeah, there's 3 links below. Pick the one that matches where you're at. Either keep freelancing or build a fucking money printer. I appreciate you all watching. It's been a super long video. My apologies. I did not plan it to be this long. But yeah, build a fucking money printer. Check the links below. One of them will make sense for fucking you. I promise. Click it. Find out. Peace the fuck out, boys.